because one's way was never the same as the others. Someone asked me, Sadhguru J. Krishnamurti was a master of his intellect. Rajneesh was a master of controversy. What are you? I said, I'm a master of chaos. I know how to harness chaos. I can make a chaotic situation culminate into something fantastic. So, every master had his own way. And all of this melted pretty well into the culture. You will see, except today's English-educated India, if you go to the rural masses, you will see if you go to a place, a Kumbh Mela is a fantastic display of this. If you go to, let's say, Kumbh Mela, a classic event on the planet, one like no other. Every kind of path, the weird and the wise, all perfectly fitting into each other. Nothing contradicts anything. Everything is absolutely different from the other, but nothing contradicts anything, everything fits in perfectly well. This is not something that a thinking mind, a logically correct mind, particularly a Western mind, could understand. How do all these people fit together? This is because there is no right and wrong. The question is only about, has it worked for you or not? If it has worked to evolve you into a higher state of being, it doesn't matter whether it's right for me or not, whether it agrees with me or not. If it doesn't agree with me, there's always another way for me. So this is a fantastic outcome of generations and generations of enlightened beings. Each one of them, unhindered by what the previous one had said, explored his own way, expounded his own path, never in conflict with the one before him or the ones before him. So this is the nature of exploration, that it's not about right and wrong, it's about just making it happen. Is the white flower the most beautiful one or the red flower the most beautiful one? Such questions don't arise out here. Such questions have come from cultures which are steeped in morality, as to something has to be good and something has to be bad. In this state of making something right and making something wrong, there is no way a spiritual process can happen, because essentially spiritual process means all-inclusiveness. If you cannot embrace everything the way it is, if you have to accept some and reject some, then there will be no spiritual process. You will only have morality, no spirituality.
Can two contemporary enlightened masters disagree with each other? As I have heard of Osho Rajneesh disagreeing about the way of J. Krishnamurti.
People can disagree or agree with whatever. If you talk to me about anything, art, music, politics, whatever, maybe I'll disagree with you with almost anything that you say. No, I didn't say you're contemporary enlightened, but I may disagree with anybody. But if we pay attention to life, there is no need to agree or disagree because the way it is the way it is. Nobody agrees or disagrees about that. But about culture, about clothing, about music, about politics, about art, we can agree and disagree endlessly, isn't it? And the more we disagree, it gets better. Yes? Yes or no? About things around us, if we disagree, that is if you're joyful and disagree. If you're a miserable wench, then if you disagree, you will fight. If you are little sophisticated in your head, disagreement always leads to betterment of things, isn't it? Suppose you and me disagree, how this should be arranged? We can sit here and debate about it for the next 2 days and then maybe come up with something really beautiful. But the moment we disagree, we get angry and we will fight. Such people are different. So if you can disagree joyfully and debate it, even the smallest aspects of life, it's perfectly fine. There is no necessity that you have to agree with everybody. You don't have to. Because when it comes to physical things around us, each one of us see it differently. That's why so much variety of life has happened, isn't it? So many languages, so many forms of music, so many forms of art, so many… many things have happened. Because if everybody agreed, all of us would be living in the cave. We disagreed. Maybe if you were a caveman's daughter, caveman's son, if you were a caveman's son, if you said, I want to build a hut out there, I'm sure your father disagreed. Yes or no? He said, why a cave is good and all the great qualities of living in a cave, he would have expounded for you. But you disagreed, that's why a hut, that is why a million other things, isn't it? So it's all right, enlightened or otherwise, you can disagree about a million things, what's the problem? But if you get to the core, you don't have to agree, you don't have to disagree. The way it is the way it is. Existential does not need your agreement or disagreement. It's simply that the physical, the psychological, the emotional needs agreement and disagreement. You try to gather around people who agree with you, which is a serious mistake because they must be stupid. If you have the sophistication and equanimity within yourself to be constantly around people who disagree with you, you will see you will do things much better in the physical world. If you have only people who agree with you, that means you have gathered an idiot bunch around you who will say for everything, adusaripa, adusaripa.